everyone. Welcome to the first visa webinar of 2025 for fall 2025 students organized by Zolve. I am Manchi and I'll be your host today. I also work in the business team of Zolve, and I'm really excited and thrilled to have all of you here. I'm sure we'll be able to help all of you in cracking your FN visa interview. Um, just discussing a few things for 5 minutes, then we'll jump into the session. So, what are we doing today? What all are we doing today is the question right now, right? So we'll first start with welcoming you all, and just to mention at the very start of the session, we have a couple of offers for you that we'll reveal at the end of the session. So stay tuned till the end. I'm going to tell you all about Zolve, how Zolve will help you throughout your journey from, your country to US. How Zolve will help you make your American dreams come true. Then we'll meet the expert of the day. We'll have mock interviews. So we'll ask you to raise your hands, and we'll choose randomly a couple of students, and our the officer today will ask you a few questions, and you'll be able to practice your visa interview, right? Then to give a fair amount of chance to everyone, we'll have a Q&A. So you can post your questions in the Q&A section, right? And I'll take all the questions one by one, and the officer will be more than happy to answer them. And obviously, at the end, a surprise is waiting for you. So stay tuned. Okay. So at Zolve is a neobank. We are headquartered in India, and now we have also expanded in our business in Canada. We help students moving to US and Canada by offering them a plethora of products. In the starting of the session, you must have seen videos where students have communicated how Zolve Global Scholarship have helped them in their journey from India to US, right? So we have a scholarship of $50,000, which is need based and merit based. So you can go ahead and apply for it and make your American dreams come true. We also offer visa assistance. One of the things is that we are conducting free visa webinars for you so that you can be prepared for your FN visa interview and make your dreams come true. We also offer flight bookings. So, once your visa is approved, you come to Zolve, and Zolve is a one-stop solution for you. So you come to Zolve, and after that, you get great deals on flight bookings. We also do free doorstep delivery of US or Canadian SIM. So, and we have partnered with top telecom providers to offer you best rates, right, on your plan, and the SIM is absolutely free that you can order from Zolve app. All you have to do is download the Zolve app. I'll paste the link on the chat box. Uh, Add in a few details and you're good to go. So after your visa is approved, you also will need a checking account and a credit card, US credit card. So when you go to US, all of you must know that you will need a social security number to get a credit card. And credit card is like a must have when you're going to a country like USA. So I'll give you a scenario. Imagine you have just landed in US, right? You're traveling and this is your first minute in that land, and you want to book a Uber back home or back to university. What will you do? Because it's very difficult to carry cash all the time in a different country, and there's no UPI like India that works in the US. So if you have a card, Zolve credit card that you can get from your at your home country, and once you land in the US, you can start using it from the minute you land in the country, right? Few so we give this credit card without a social security number, and to get a social security number you at least need to spend 2 to 3 months minimum in US, get a job, and then after that you'll be able to get it. right? We also offer a checking account to make your journey seamless. Any questions about the Zolve, any of the Zolve products and services, we can address it in our WhatsApp group. We can address it after the session. So, yeah, looking forward to it. So once you land in the US, you can also take benefits of international transfers, auto loans, health insurance, and rental insurance only through Zolve app. And as you can see, this is all you can do without a SSN. SSN that you have to have in US and SIN that you will have to have in Canada, right? We also have mock visa interview services. So I can see we have around more than 300 people right now with us, right? So any of you, if you have a special case or you want to talk to the officers one on one for say 30 minutes or 60 minutes, what you can do is by paying a very small fee, you can book a one on one consultancy with them. How, right? All you have to do is go to your Play Store or App Store, download the Zolve banking app, go to store section, go to expert help section, and you will be able to book a one-on-one session with Yvette, right? The officer that will be conducting the session today. So yeah, without any further ado, let me welcome Yvette, guys. Uh, I first of all, I would like to tell this story that I was going through social media and I found Yvette there, and I found that she is really helping students out there. She has partnered with several other creators, right? And the insights that she was sharing was really influential. So I thought it will be very helpful if she can partner with us. It's a privilege and a proud moment for us that she is here with us today, and she will be helping all of you through her experience. Uh, so yeah, Yvette, over to you. Welcome.
Awesome.
So
Thank you
much.
so much, Manchi. Thank you so much. And I appreciate you introducing folks to the Zolve platform and taking the time to partner with me. It's an honor to be collaborating with Zolve. So I have a presentation for you all today. Let me go ahead and present. Just give me one moment. Second here.
Guys, meanwhile, we are figuring out a few things. Can you all just put in the chat box when is your visa interview? Have you received your I-20? First question. And secondly, when is your visa interview? Can you just put in your dates in the chat box? 14th May, Divya's visa interview is then. Great. Day 22nd May, right. So you have roughly a month to prepare. We'll have multiple sessions almost every weekend. So yeah, make sure you attend all the session and you're all ready to for your visa interview. Over to you, Yvette.
Okay, well, first of all, I want to say that this is a fantastic turnout. We have almost 350 people on the call, so it's just quite amazing. Welcome, everyone. I know that we probably have education agents, we have maybe university partners and students. If you're from the Nepalese community with Mukesh, I just want to offer you a warm welcome. Like, thank you so much for attending. I know it was last minute, but um, just a shout out to the Nepali students out there from that community. Okay, so this is selling yourself at the F1 visa interview. I'm not going to cover everything. We only have an hour. And I also have a very special little giveaway at the end too, so do stick around. Um, Selling yourself at the visa interview is a, a niche topic. I know you probably have a lot more questions, but As Manshi mentioned, we do have overcoming visa refusals on May 9th. So lots of opportunities to attend webinars. And let's get started. Oh, let me introduce myself a little bit more. So I worked with the federal government for 11 years. I adjudicated over 40,000 visas, and I primarily worked in India. I lived in India, in Delhi, in Mumbai, and I started UDETI. I'm the founder of UDETI in 2022, and it was primarily because I saw a lot of Indian students. I saw Nepalese students, also Bangladeshi students, really struggle at the visa window. And I actually have a little bit of a story about that before we fully get started. I'm going to tell a couple of stories while we're on this presentation. And this is the first time I'm doing this particular niche presentation and telling these stories. So bear with me, but I think it's a more fun way to present. So I knew a former consular. She's a current consular officer. Her name is Sarah. We're going to change a lot of names today. And me and her were having lunch, and the conversation topic was memorized answers. And so all consular officers in India always complained that everybody memorized their answers, and it was really hard to get to the heart of what students really intended to do in the United States. Now, Sarah is very compassionate. She wanted to give these students as much time as possible, but we were under a lot of pressure to adjudicate over 120 visas in 3.5 hours. So if you can imagine, we had to churn very quickly. But Sarah wanted to take extra time to dig deeper into a lot of these memorized answers. The problem was that no matter the questions she threw at these applicants, they would stick to their speech that they memorized. So she was never, especially with a lot of students, able to get to what their story is, their personal story. And a lot of times she would have to reject the applicant because of that. So a lot of officers are not as friendly as Sarah, and so they won't try to get you off your track. So she would try to do that by asking off the wall questions, things you wouldn't expect, just to see the personality of the officers. Well, other officers were not as patient, and they did not have the time. And so that's how rejections really happen. So I hope you can see through this story that officers really want to get to know who you are, but you have to give them an opportunity to do so, be able to walk out of that script and have a personal story. And so when I talk about selling yourself and how to present yourself at the visa interview, it's not going to be gimmicky. It's more about being authentic. Okay. All right. So first thing is first, how are you being judged? So we have a policy manual that we follow in order to see your qualifications as an F1 student. So first, we need to know that you're academically ready. We are going to assess whether or not we believe that you are going to succeed in your program. I do not want to issue a visa to somebody who will not pass their classes. So here I want to ask about your grades. I want to ask how many admissions you received. I want to assess your English level to make sure, okay, I think this person can pass their classes. I think most students that come to the visa window pass this felt relatively easily. Okay, their level of success. The second thing would be a commitment to education. So is their sole purpose of going to the United States education? That doesn't mean that I never think you're going to get an H-1B, or I don't think you're going for CPT or OPT. That's not what's important. What's important is I feel like you're going for education and that you intend on completing your program. Okay. So I'm going to take a pause right now. If you have questions, I'm asking you to write them in the Q&A because managing chat and Q&A is going to be a little bit difficult. So go ahead and put them in Q&A so we can keep track of them. But if you have other comments, like definitely leave them in the chat. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
So you can go ahead with the presentation. We'll take the questions separately at the end. No problem.
Sure. Thank you. So the commitment to education is important. I'm not too worried about your future plans as long as it's I'm thinking, okay, they might get an H-1B in the future through legal means in the right channels, but I believe that this person, first and foremost, wants to complete this degree program, is serious about where they've applied. Okay, so that's why I ask them questions. I assess their age. I assess what program they're going to, their reasons for going to that program, their reasons for selecting the school. Because if you're seriously committed to your education, you have done a lot of research and selected a school that is a good fit for you. That's the mindset of a consular officer. That may not always be the case with students, but that's what the officers expect. And the bar for F1 students is really high, especially now. Last year, really high refusal rates, and so you have to be a standout. It's not as easy as it used to be. Okay, and then finally, once I believe that you're academically ready, that your sole intent is for education, you're going to use your visa well and legally, I'm going to assess your financial stability. Here, officers are going to want to verify that you have enough to cover the entire program. The rule is 1 year, plus I have to know how you're going to fund subsequent years. So you have to have funds for your first entire year and then subsequent years. And this has to be communicated. Great to have financial documents, please do have them. However, you need to be able to explain this to the officer in detail, okay? All right. Oh, guys, we're up to 400 people. I am so curious who's on this call now.
I know it's really exciting to see everyone.
Yeah, that is. And it's a Friday. I was a little hesitant about Fridays. I was like,
We have
Angie,
more
a
than 200.
Friday? But it's early. It's early on a Friday. I'm sure everybody has plans, right?
Yeah. Good time for India though. They can go for a party after they're done with the session.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yes. The reality of your interview. It's very quick, 1 to 3 minutes. Some interviews are even shorter. And I get the question, why is it so short? Why is this interview so short? And if you're not making your case very quickly, or you make your case very quickly, the interview can end. So if you come up to my window, you're giving me a speech, I'm not able to see your personality, you're giving me one-word answers. I have done enough interviews to know that this isn't really going to go anywhere. I'm not going to really be able to understand why you're going for what you're going for. Maybe you're telling me just talking about professors. That's a common mistake that students make. They just talk about the professor, they don't talk about themselves. They talk about things in vague ways. They say perfectly aligns with my curriculum, perfectly aligns with my future plans. And I don't really get a sense for why exactly they are going to that institution. So if from the very beginning you are presenting as if you're not going to give the consular officer more, they start to predict that this interview is going to go south and may reject you very quickly. Or they might go straight to a financial question if they have some doubts about your finances, or it's a direct question about your background. And if you're not, because they have a concern, they see it on the DS-160. And if you're not convincing enough, they say, okay, I'm going to end it after 1 or 2 questions because I have a lot of people waiting in line. And every denial is recorded permanently in your education history. That's why it's important to be honest. If you are married and you don't mention that you're married, for example, and then in the future you want to get an H-1B and they ask you when you got married and it doesn't align with a past refusal and you're trying to think, you don't have to think a lot when you're honest. You just tell the truth. But if you have dishonesty in your permanent record, or just know that whatever you say to the consular officer can be recorded in case notes and is permanent. That's so it's important to sell yourself early, right? So starting strong is really important. Not many students will give context. Okay, so you walk up to the visa window, you have your I-20 inside your passport. This is the setup that I suggest. And you pass the I-20 and passport to the consular officer. On the side of you, please have your SEVIS receipt, the barcode page of your DS-160 ready, and in a folder separately, all your other organized documents. So you're starting off strong, you're starting off organized. I'm going to use Anisha's story. So this is a recent client that I had. I was helping her prepare for her visa interview, so we can use her story. So she has a background in epidemiology, and she's a project manager. She works with hepatitis B and C patients. Okay. So when she goes up to the visa window, they ask her, why Ohio State University? Her major, biostatistics, different from epidemiology. She wants to start off strong. So this way she can say, I have a background in epidemiology. I work with hepatitis B and C patients. I'm good at collecting data, but I'm not great and I don't know how to interpret and analyze data. With biostatistics, coupled with my background, I'll be able to not just collect data, but really make changes in the system and in cures for the diseases that I'm seeing on a day-to-day basis. Biostatistics in Ohio State is a strong program as compared to NYU and Boston College, which I also got admissions into. So for her, she also mentioned some strengths, which is she got into Boston, she got into NYU. Those are her personal strengths. So she gives a little bit of context and she can talk about biostats within Ohio State. Now, so everybody's strong start is different. And she could have talked a little bit more about the university. But this is good enough to give some context. And she used the X factor for Ohio State to compare it to the other universities that she passed up, creating credibility because she got into really high level institution. This differs for everyone, but that's just an example of a strong start. So I would say give some context to the consular officer before you start talking about why you selected that school. Create a purposeful story. So then they'll ask her more about biostatistics. So they'll ask you more about your program. And instead of saying and listing off courses or talking about a professor, I advise Nisha, okay, so tell me more. Why biostats? And she can tell a story about how she wanted to advance the research of hepatitis B in India. There isn't as much research, and she did not have the tools that she needed. She had the medical background, but she didn't have the tools to be a part of a pharmaceutical company, to be a part of the research. So now she's speaking naturally about why she's picking that program and giving even more context and even more personality to her educational plans and a little bit of context for her future plans. So the next question will be, so what will you do with biostats? And then she can talk about either a research institution, a pharmaceutical company. She's already engaged a consular officer. The point of an F1 visa is to have a great education in the United States and bring that education and those tools back to your home country and make an impact. If you can get there with your story, that's wonderful. Not everybody can get there, but in her case, she could. So she created a purposeful story, and she has to be able to deliver this story with confidence. That's how you sell yourself at the visa interview. She's not going, when you give memorized answers, it just says, I'm not really confident enough to think on my feet. I have to memorize this answer. I'm too scared to talk to you naturally. I'm too scared to be vulnerable and really open up about why I chose this major. And the job of the consular officer is to see that you're genuine. So you have to be able to communicate off the cuff. Otherwise, the consular officer is going to think someone just gave him these answers. And let me tell you something, that you're going to just sound like everybody else, and the officer is not going to believe you. So nobody can make up Anisha's story. It's hers. If someone else can use your script, then it's too prepared and you're not going to be able to do a good job selling yourself. Okay. So believing in yourself, believing in your story, and taking the time to really think about the bigger picture is going to help you be confident. So instead of writing out a script, write out a framework, with a decent introduction, a purposeful story that connects everything together, and then be flexible enough at the visa interview to present that story. All right. So this is a little bit more information on what we just talked about. So connecting your past education, these are all just tips. You have to apply them to yourself. Be flexible with that. So articulate your academic achievements, education. If asked, being able to list down your strengths and talk about your education. So part of selling yourself is also, so if you have a low GPA, perhaps you can talk about not just, okay, yeah, my GPA is low, but maybe my GPA is a little bit low in certain areas. However, I really excelled at math and science. So if the consular officer asks you, okay, so what's your GPA? Okay, why is it so low? Why do you have so many backlogs? You can say, hey, there were some areas I did not excel in, but I'm going for computer science and I really excelled and I had an 8.0, or if you're in India, or a 3.5 if you're doing an equivalent in math. And so you're not just letting the answer stay there without defending yourself. There could be some points. So you can use that in terms of discussing past education, and connecting your past education with your future plans is also a great way to sell yourself. We use that in Anisha's story. She connected epidemiology, her work, with her future plans. One thing we did not cover yet is how a specific program offers resources, expertise, opportunities. Some programs in the United States exceed other programs. And so if a specific university has an amazing machine shop that gets you hands-on experience to certain tools and has design teams, and you're going for mechanical engineering, that's the X factor of that school. So understanding the X factor of your specific school, and there should be one. So this is important. So from the very beginning, you should have a hand in selecting your program. And if you're already at the point where you have your I-20, now is the time to attend webinars for your school and understand what your school offers, and get excited about something and have that X factor be the differentiating factor for why you selected that school and how it compares to other programs. So that's going to be a good way to sell yourself and present yourself. And paint a vivid picture of your future career. Be excited about it. For example, Anisha lives in Hyderabad, and they have a really big pharmaceutical industry there. So for her, it's easy to say, I want to go back to Hyderabad because they have a huge pharmaceutical industry, and this is how I want to apply this degree. It's very specific. It's not just, let me check a box by telling the consular officer that, hey, I just want to go back to my home country. It's not very specific. It sounds like you almost are saying it to say it. OPT, CPT, H-1Bs, they're not guaranteed in the United States. So have a plan B. And when you communicate to the consular officer, talk about your plan B like you're really excited about it, even if your plan A is an H-1B. Sure, I mean, legally, you are entitled to wish that an H-1B is your goal. But ultimately, what is your plan if you had to go back to your home country? If you can communicate that and create that and live in that and believe in that, it's going to be easier to sell yourself and convince the consular officer that you are excited about returning and applying what you learned back. Okay. All right. So this entails a little bit of strategic preparation, knowing what matters. So for Anisha's case, she knew that her background was a strength. The other university admissions she received was a strength. She had a good plan for returning back home. She had excellent home ties. She can talk about her family back in her home country in India. So knowing what actually matters and what does not matter. So that might be a little bit confusing. There's a lot of misinformation online about what your strengths are. Her strength was also finances. Her sponsor, which actually happens to be her father-in-law, made a decent amount, and so she was having finances as a strength. So for every single person on this call, your strengths might be different. Like your home ties could be a good strength. For other people, your finances could be a good strength. For other people, your GPA could be your strength. Your work experience could be your strength. So knowing what matters and presenting those strengths is going to make a difference. Advocating for yourself, not having yes or no answers, being prepared with that framework in mind, and know that the consular officer might ask you a simple question, but they want to know a complex and compelling reasoning for your studies. Even if the question is, why did you pick this school? You should really think of it as, convince me that you're a real student and this school is a good fit for you. That should really be what they say. But what they say is, why did you pick the school? But in your mind, you should take it as a challenge to convince the consular officer. So advocating for yourself, not being pushy. Please don't be pushy. Don't stand super close to the visa window. Okay. But advocating for yourself. Be conversational. Don't remember things. Just talk normally. The way that I'm talking right now would be great. And answer clearly. Be as concise as you possibly can. So how you say things matters, and what you say also matters. Okay, so I see some people messaging about long answers. I'm going to show you a clip in a couple slides. Let me see. Okay, so this clip, this answer was definitely a long answer, and the consular officer may absolutely cut this student off. But because his answer was interesting and different than all the other answers that the officer sees at the window, they may let this student talk. But whether they cut the student off or not, this student has proved that they are a genuine student. They're passionate about their major. And so I want to play this clip for you. So obviously this student actually had a pending green card petition and ended up getting his visa approved just within a couple questions. And it's because of his confidence and the fact that he's able to speak naturally. So we'll call him Naveen, but changed his name. So let's play this clip. Please let me know that you can hear it.
I think the audio is not audible. We can't listen.
You're not able to hear this?
We are not able to hear the audio.
Oh, how can I change that?
In case you're wearing any earphones or anything, would you be able to take that off? I think the system audio will be able to pick it up from there.
Engineering.
Yeah.
Perfect.
When
I was in 11th grade. I took up this high school project.
Can you hear that?
We can hear that. Can you play from the beginning?
Okay.
Joshua, so we're here, we're doing a little bit of a mock interview. I'm going to ask you the question, why did you decide to go for environmental engineering?
So when I was in 11th grade, I took up this high school project along with a classmate of mine. This project, we decided we tackle an everyday issue we face. So we decided we try to treat chemical pollution in a lake. So on my way to school every day, I used to cycle to school as we passed this dirty, contaminated lake. So we thought we'd make this the focus of our project. So knowing the basic chemistry that we knew, we started experimenting and learning. And then that's when I realized that I really loved applying science to these environmental issues. I enjoyed what I was doing. And then later on, the project reached to the state level of the CBSE National Science Exhibition. This is when I started exploring environmental engineering as a career prospect. I realized it's something I like to do. I would really look forward to doing this as a career for myself.
Amazing. And what would you do with environmental engineering after you came back to India?
So after I complete my undergraduate studies, I probably would like to work in an environmental and sustainability consulting firm and then apply what I've learned and gain some experience. Eventually, in the long run, I'd like to start my own environmental and sustainability consulting firm, or maybe even join my father's construction business.
Why your father's construction business doesn't have an environmental component?
No, it does not have an environmental component as of right now. So that's why I'd like to gain some experience and then add on to this company, because this is something of our own and I'd like to put my effort into something and build something out.
Okay. And can you tell me a little bit more about the project itself? What was it that you actually did for this lake?
Okay, so our project is called Lake Saver. So what we decided to do is treat the chemical pollution in the lake. If you ask a person about pollution in the lakes, most people are quite aware about the physical aspect, that is the dirty garbage bags and all that. Only few people were aware about the chemical aspects. So we thought we could try to treat that. So our approach to this was we took lab analysis reports of these lakes. We identified those toxins that were in major concentrations. So we thought we could make reagents of certain concentrations specific to each lake so that they react with these toxins and they create precipitates. So precipitates are those things which don't mix with water. These toxins are effectively removed from the water in terms of.
Okay, guys, he goes a little bit about the environmental factors. Let me see. Okay.
About the environmental factors. Let me just move away from this slide and so sorry. Okay, so the video is on our YouTube channel, UDETI Visa, for somebody who asked about it. So he went on, you have to expect the consular officer may ask you for clarifying questions. In this case, I would not have asked this student for clarifying questions because from the very beginning, I could tell that he knew what he was talking about. But I was actually curious. I was very curious as to how this happened with the lake. And sometimes that really builds rapport with the consular officer, just your story. Oh, I didn't know that hepatitis B was not a known issue in India. Please tell me more. Oh, that's interesting that you're working on biology to treat certain viruses. And tell me more about how you were able to do that with this lake. If you can get the consular officer there, that's, an A++. So I was curious and I asked him more, but I was already convinced that he was a genuine student. And I probably, if I was short on time at the visa window, I would have just approved him, which is exactly what happened. He was approved in about 2 questions. Notice how, when I asked him, why your father's construction business? He did not crumble. And a lot of students crumble when they're challenged, right? They'll be like, oh, wait, did I say? They'll stop believing in themselves. They have a point, but they'll be scared that they misspoke. And so they'll clam up and maybe say, okay, maybe not that, or they'll lose their confidence. But he actually gained more momentum and more confidence and said, I'll create something to make his construction business more sustainable. And that is a level of confidence that obviously he naturally has, but we can all fake it till we make it. He's 18 years old. If he can do it, we can definitely do it too. So just seeing that confidence in the fact that he spoke off the cuff, he did not have a script, and he had a framework and an idea in mind, and he was able to execute it, is a good example of a good sell at the visa window. So more tips on selling yourself: building rapport with the consular officer. You see them as a professional colleague or a trusted uncle is better than seeing them as a scary authority figure, because it'll help you calm down. And the human connection is naturally going to come if you tell your personal story and you're not memorized. Okay. So this previous client was easily able to build rapport with the consular officer. Okay. Presenting your financial readiness is really important. You can have all the documents that you want, but you need to be able to explain the full financial picture to the consular officer. You need to know the full financial picture of your sponsor, so ask the right questions. Be ready to explain, so telling them, my father is in X profession, my mother also works. We have a combined income of X amount. And if you have some impressive immovable property, then you can mention that as well. And the consular officer here wants to see that, yes, you have enough for 1 full year plus more. So giving a comprehensive answer. What does your father do really means prove to me you can pay for your education. So don't just give a 1-word answer. Be prepared to discuss the entirety of your finances. Okay. Final tips, practice telling your story in a natural way. Speak naturally, just the way like our friend, call him Naveed, but I already said his name on the video. And projecting confidence. And that's how you sell yourself at the visa interview, you guys. Let me, before, okay, so here's how UDETI works. Just want to take a minute to tell you a little bit about what differentiates us from other visa prep that you may have had. We don't just do a back and forth mock interview. We help students identify their strengths and tell their story. So we help them extract what makes them special and then help build a framework with them and push them to create that framework for themselves and to communicate that story in a personal way to the consular officer. So you may not know what it is about your profile that is good and that is bad. And we also obviously answer your questions along the way. So it's a little bit more of a personalized approach and it really works. Especially if you're already a good applicant, you just need a little bit of help communicating at the visa window and you're a little bit scared to go outside the script. I am going to share a Google form. So this is my little surprise before we do mock interviews. I'm gonna share a Google form. If you fill it out, I'll send a DS-160 guide, which we did not talk about the DS-160. This guide will talk about how to fill out a DS-160, what a DS-160 means, a document checklist, and by midnight tomorrow, I'm going to enter everybody who filled out the form for a free 30-minute session with a former consular officer, either myself or somebody on my team. So I'll pick that by tomorrow, just completely at random. I'll probably have AI shuffle or something like that. For one person on this call as like a thank you for being here. So yeah, so if you stuck around this long, like 50, if you stuck around this long, like hopefully you're going to be one of, the couple hundred people that fill out this form. Let me share this form with everyone. Make sure you have to be signed in to an email address to fill it out. So test it out. Let me know if there's any issues. To book a consult with us, Manshi did mention you can go on the Zolve app. I know there's some people out here who are not able to access it. But I recommend you going and booking a consultation on the Zolve app. If you're not able to do that, you can visit udetivisa.com and put in the code Zolve25 for 25% off, which is the highest discount we ever give. And it is for a limited time. So just FYI, if you want to book a one-on-one session, and we'll have those links as well. Make sure if you fill out this form, also we'll keep you informed of future sessions, as well as Zolve will inform you of future sessions. Again, the next one is going to be May 9th, and it's by a former consular officer that consults for UDETI, and it's about overcoming refusals. So that's really exciting, and I hope you can make that session for specific advice on overcoming refusals. And that is it for me. Thanks. Over to you.
Amazing. That's really amazing. And yeah, students, if you really like this session, if you would like a one-on-one with Yvette, just go ahead and book a session. And she has shared everything she would have done. But if you have a special case to discuss with her, if you have a special situation, right, you can always go ahead and book a session and talk to her one-on-one, right? So yeah, we have a few more minutes in the session before we start our mock interview, as well as we pick your questions and answer them. So just one thing, we'll pick one person to do the mock interview right now. But one condition, guys, let's make it really professional. Let's have a good light, good audio with you so that you are able to listen to her properly and she is able to listen to your answers properly, judge your preparation, and accordingly share feedback with you. Right. And don't worry about the links, right? All the links, we have a WhatsApp community. All of you, I'm sure, are there. I'll share all the links there. Let's just focus on learning, because I mean, where else will you get to have all that information for free, right? And all that valuable information. So yeah, you can raise your hand. I'll be able to for the this time I will be able to pick only one person, because I want to take as many questions as possible and cater to most of your queries, right? But before that, yeah, how can I forget that we also have a surprise for you? uh, Quickly, while you try to uh, get yourself in a mock interview setting, let me just quickly inform you. Once your visa is approved and you are ready to book your flights, you can make a group of 10 of you can come to Zolve, and we'll offer you a 20% extra discount on all the flight bookings. Same thing goes for sim, right? So SIM is absolutely free, but you have to pay for the plan. And if you are a set of 10 students and you want to, get a great deal for the SIM through the top telecom providers, you can come to us with a group, and we'll able to provide you the best of the offer possible. We also we know that you are going to go for your visa interview next month, right? So we want you to be absolutely ready. So we are offering this visa folder, right? Which is absolutely free. I'll just share the link on the chat, how to apply it. Meanwhile, I'll tell you what all is inside this visa folder. So this is a visa folder that you can carry during your visa interview. When you open this folder, okay, let me just remove my background so people can see everything. Yeah. So guys, this is the visa folder, right? So when you open it, you have a visa survival kit. This is the kit. So this is like a document organizer, right? So where you can place all the documents inside. So suppose, just a scenario, you went for your visa interview and the officer asks you, okay, give me, say, your DS 160. You don't want to, go underprepared and just keep figuring out how to get your DS 160. So you'll have a document checklist. You can place it here, right, in this section, so you exactly know which document have you put at what place, right? Let me give you an overview of the visa survival kit that we have, right? So this kit has a planner for you. You can plan everything. There's a checklist that you have, so that you don't forget anything while you're planning to travel to US. You have these flashcards that will help you prepare for your mock visa interviews, right? It's like how you conquer a battle. So this flashcards come with a question which is frequently asked during the visa interview, and there's answer that is written behind it. So it will help you prepare for your interview. We also have a $50,000 bill for you. Obviously, this is a mock-up. So there's a QR code through which you can scan and apply for the $50,000 worth of scholarship. And these are a checklist of all the documents that you can put in the folder, and you will be able to organize everything better, right? The link to apply for the folder is in the chat box. Unfortunately, only people from India are eligible to apply for this. So we'll come back with a better solution so that every one of you will be able to, take most the benefit out of for this visa folder. Cool. Yvette, we have so many people who have raised their hand. Who do you want to pick up for the mock interview?
So this is for just a quick mock and feedback. Let me see.
We'll
My
definitely
hand
have,
likes this.
we'll pick more students in our upcoming session, but for the interest of time, we'll be able to pick only one this time.
Okay.
But guys, make sure you have your camera ready, you have the best of the audio, so
Okay.
that you can talk
Yes.
to her in the best way possible. Yeah,
Okay. I'm gonna pick at random.
yeah.
Um, Krish Visita, I'm gonna let you speak.
Cool. I'll have to grant access. Krish, right?
Yeah, I think I already did. Krish, can you hear me?
Yeah, Krish, are you there? Krish, can you just unmute yourself and switch on your camera? Yeah.
Oh, perfect.
Krish, can you please switch on your camera so that she'll be able, the officer will be able to judge your body language as well and give you a complete feedback.
Hi, Krish. How are you?
You're on mute. Krish, are you ready? Krish, you're on mute. Whenever you're ready, can you please unmute yourself?
Okay, meanwhile,
Yeah.
there's so many questions. Um, Let me see if I can do a few. Unfortunately, we can do 10, 15 minutes of questions after. Krish, whenever you're ready, you can unmute yourself as I'm still seeing the mute button. So once you start speaking, we can take you.
Yeah.
All
Meanwhile,
right.
maybe we should give chance to someone else while Krish is figuring this out.
Okay. Go ahead, Manshi. Go
Sure.
ahead and you can disable talking for Krish. Unfortunately, Krish, maybe you can type your question if you have a question, and Manshi will pick just somebody at random. Does not matter
Shushant,
who.
are you there? Okay, Shushant, Joy, if you're there. Sujit. Poonam, if you're there. Poonam, are you there? Uh, Joy is here. Joy, are you able to hear us? Can you unmute yourself? We can't hear you, Joy.
Hello, Mansi.
Are you there? Can you switch on your camera?
Unfortunately, I'm not able to switch my camera. However, I can do audio, but for mock, I'm not prepared for the mock. Still, I'm preparing. So I'll give the chances to others.
Okay.
I mean, shall we take questions first? Meanwhile,
Yes, let's take questions. I think, people might need to digest and prepare a lot of the information. Maybe we'll do a little bit more mocks on the next session. And maybe have people pre-selected. maybe, yeah, okay, cool.
Cool.
Because we also have a lot of questions, so I'd love to be able to answer some of them.
Should I read out the questions for you, or you'll be able to pick it up?
Menchie, you're welcome to pick out the questions, but if it's a personal story, can you rephrase it so that it's a little bit more general? Because some of them are a little bit long.
Sure. No problem. So I'll
Okay,
read
cool.
it from the top, right? Okay. Harmanpreet Singh says, Ma'am, I'm going to Prude University Northwest, and it is my second time. And I want to know that this university is right for business management course or not.
Well, Purdue is a very good business school, but you just like everything else, you need to be able to convince the consular officer of why you selected that school.
Correct. So basically, he'll have to have a right answer, and if I'm not wrong, also have to justify whether if he had changed the university, so why has he changed the university, right? Great.
Correct. It's
Prakash says, I'm going for my F1 visa interview with 100% scholarship to study physics. I chose physics because I am still deciding between civil and electrical engineering. And this major keeps the door open for both and allows a smooth transition to the engineering field. Once I decide which one to pursue, will the officer view this as a negative, thinking I am uncertain about my future plans? Or could it be seen positively for being honest and realistic about my academic goals?
so.
Should I
So
repeat?
just rephrase. Can you rephrase? I'm not.
So I think Prakash is still confused whether he should take civil or electrical engineering, right? Because he had physics before. So if he's not sure, he has not decided yet. So when he goes for his interview, right, will officer take it as a negative point because he is still uncertain and reject his visa?
He's not going to be talking about uncertainty, right? Like it's not a therapy session.
Yeah.
I love joking around. It's not a therapy session, right? You're like, you don't have to go to the visa window and be like, I really contemplated this decision for a long time. So you're having that I-20, it's already decided on the I-20 for you. If you have 100% scholarship anywhere, amazing. That should be a big factor in your decision making because it certainly looks amazing at the visa window. And just stick to your guns. Pick a path. You don't have to live with it forever. Just like bachelor degree students on here, pick a major, stick to your major. And if you happen to change your mind when you're in the US and you're making a shift from finance to accounting or whatever, that's okay. Just have a solid story at the visa window. So if you're changing things from one interview to the other, that's when you have to talk to the consular officer about, I made this switch last time I was in physics. Now I'm in civil or electrical engineering, and this is why I decided to go for this program this time. That's a different story, but otherwise, officers don't have any insight into what admits you received, so you're good to go.
Great. So next question is by Sehzad, where he's asking how to explain about my sponsorship details. How to make this officer believe that my father can actually afford to pay my education.
Yeah, just in terms of talking about, all you can do is tell them what he does, his income, any immovable assets, and officers have a large data bank by which they will assess how truthful they think you are. And you can also have your tax statements as well, in case.
Cool. Next question is by Krish, who was not able to unmute himself, unfortunately. He was asking, I have been rejected 3 times. I'm applying for the 4th time. I just don't know what is wrong with my profile. I have strong financials, I have scholarship. So how can I avoid rejection this time?
It's hard because I wasn't able to speak to you. So it's a case where you may want to assess how well you did at selling yourself based on this presentation. And if you do need an additional help, you definitely recommend, if you have multiple refusals, to book an appointment with us, because you may not be able to overcome it on your own if you're not even sure why you were refused. It could be for a wide variety of reasons. It gets harder as one officer refuses you, you may strengthen your case the next time, but it needs to be extremely strong to overcome the previous refusals.
Great. Next question is by Mridula. She's asking, her question is about the work experience. So she says, I have experience of 4 months. I was in contract role with the company, which I had to leave. That and Okay, so I had to leave the company and join VIT Bangalore that has a 1+1 master's program, which has a tie-up with couple of universities in US. So basically, she was studying with VIT Bangalore, and I think she's going for an exchange program with some university in US. I wasn't given an experience certificate or relief letter. Will this affect my visa interview? How do I answer related to this?
So experience certificates don't mean much to consular officers because they are not a thing in the United States. And a lot of Indian students worry that I did an internship, they didn't give me an experience certificate. That's okay. That's not an issue. They don't have to worry about experience certificate. As if they can talk about their background, mention it on their DS-160 and be able to explain what they did, that's going to be enough for the consular officer to believe that they did what they said they did.
Yeah. So next question is by Sai, who is asking, what should I say if the officer asks, why aren't you doing your course MS? Why aren't you doing your MS in AI in India? So why US and not India?
So for everybody, that's a different story. It could be that you want more of a traditional learning environment. You have to be able to explain maybe your school has a certain X factor or certain resources that is not available in India. So just being able to, maybe you want different cultural experiences. So all of those reasons, better career prospects, better subspecialty, maybe natural language learning is stronger at the university that you selected in the US versus the ones in India. So there could be a lot of different reasons for that. So think about why you're driven personally to study in the US and you can talk about that.
Sure, we can take couple more questions, right? And we'll conclude.
Yeah, we can end at in like 7 minutes. So
Sure.
yeah.
Sure.
Perfect.
So next question is by Aryan, who's asking, my elder brother is working in US in H1B visa and is sponsoring me for the MS studies. So will it become a concerning point for the visa officers?
It depends. There is no black and white answer in terms of that. It's usually okay for a sibling to be in the US on H1B. It shows like you have a professional family. It's okay that they sponsor you. You just have to be able to talk confidently about it. So how you explain that sponsorship situation is going to matter at the visa window. I don't think it's a red flag. I don't think it's a negative point, but you need to be able to discuss it.
Sure, I'll take a few questions from the chat now. Okay, this is a very common question, I think. So Manohar is asking how to explain or what to write in the refusal box in DS-160 after 2 refusals.
Oh, good question. Just write 214B. That's the refusal code you were refused under. That's a really good question. A lot of students will want to say a lot of things in that refusal box. It's a very small box. Save yourself the trouble and just write 214B. And definitely attend Caroline's presentation on the 9th to talk about that a little bit more. Yeah.
Cool. I think we'll take one last question. Which is
Sure.
by Hitangshi. She is asking, I have my family immigration file from my aunt who's already a US citizen. Should I mention that during interview or not? And if yes, then how can I convince officer that my current intent is just to complete my education and come back to my home country?
So you have an aunt who's a US citizen, and on the DS-160, it asks if you have any other relatives. If you're close to your other relatives, if you visited them before, if you even had a visa denial for wanting to visit them before, should definitely mention them and not hide anything. If the relatives are not people that you talk to, associate with, I don't think that that is something that you necessarily always have to disclose. I don't think it's fair for you to have some distant uncle or somebody that you don't really speak about. But if you do mention, so I hope that makes sense for you. Mention it if you feel comfortable. You definitely have to mention all your immediate relatives, which is your parents and siblings on your DS-160. And if they're very distant relatives, make that call based on your connection with them. And if you decide to enter any relatives on your DS-160, make sure that you know what they do, how they got to the United States. You don't want anything like adverse that doesn't necessarily relate to you to impact you. So just know that if you do mention anyone on the DS-160, you should know a little bit about them. Yeah.
Great. I think that's all. That's all for today. Thank you so much, Yvette, for joining us, and thank you for all your time that you have put in to help these students. I'm sure that visa will be, approved, and they'll do a great job in their F1 visa interview, right? So just a last word, just a question from my end. There is so much uncertainty regarding the current job market in India and with the administration changes, right? What do you have to say about it to the students who are planning to pursue their higher education from US this time?
I think that I would shut off all the noise and stay focused on what you want. Just because refusal rates are high last year versus 2018 doesn't mean that you're not going to get your visa. There's a lot of students making a lot of common mistakes. We covered so much today about telling your personal story. So just because it's harder to get a job, and just because it's a little bit more difficult, weigh your personal circumstances. Of course, think to yourself, if I did not get that H-1B, would I be able to sustain myself in my home country? Would this degree be worth it? And then make a call. But that's with every student. They have to make those decisions as whether the investment is worth it if it doesn't pan out in the end. But you should always believe in yourself, give it a shot, and not worry about, especially the noise about SEVIS terminations, political activity. Definitely be cautious, especially when you go into the border. Don't have anything concerning on your phone. They may check. You may have a harder time at the border, but don't let all that fear and confusion deter you. Indians, Nepalese, Bangladeshis, Africans, they make up the heart and soul of American culture. Immigrants are amazing. I'm an immigrant myself. I came here when I was 9. I didn't speak English. I believed in myself and kind of moved forward and faced a lot of challenges, but I didn't look at the challenges in this long-term perspective. I said, hey, how can I conquer this one day at a time, do my best in school, and not let the noise get into my head. So a lot of fear and confusion. There's always going to be changes in administration. By the time you're done, it could be a brand new administration. There are good people fighting the good fight for students and a lot of advocates out there. I hope and I pray and I'm positive that good will outweigh all the fear in the world. So do your best. You're welcome in America. I want you here. Come be with us. So just stay positive. Yeah, that's kind of my message. Kind of long-winded.
Just one point.
Thank you.
Don't go to America without a Zolve credit card.
Yes, make sure you have all your finances in order and you are having a Zolve credit card and you're using it responsibly also.
Correct. Yeah, that's all for today. It was great having you here, Yvette. It was great having more than 400 people for this session. I think that's really, really amazing. Himanshu, for all the other questions, I'm sorry that we were not able to take each of the questions for the interest of time, but I'm sure I'll answer all the questions on our common WhatsApp group, which is accessible to everyone, right? You can discuss among yourselves, you can have questions for me about Zolve, about anything, right? So yeah, we'll address it there. And all the links and the recording of the session I'll share in the WhatsApp group itself. For the final time, let me just add the WhatsApp group link here. Uh, just a second. Yeah. Cool. This is the link. Thank you so much. We'll see you again on 9th of May and we'll discuss more on everything, right? So make sure you sign up for the session and you attend this session. This is on 9th of May with Caroline at 5:30 p.m. So thank you, Yvette. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much, guys, for joining in. We'll see you again. Thank you so much.